everybody wants to get united. Like, what we gotta do is meet everybody on 149th Street at the bench.
In graffiti, mentors are glorified. They seem a lot more important than what they actually are. And in today's video, we're gonna talk about exactly why that is, and why in most cases, they're kind of useless. As always, this is a conversation, so let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. But getting right into things, to kind of set up some backstory and let you guys know where I'm coming from on this topic, not only have I been mentored, I've been mentored by graffiti legends. On top of that, I've also been teaching art and graffiti for about 20 years now. Yet I still come at this topic from the angle of mentors aren't all that helpful. So now the question is, why is that? To answer this, let's kind of look at why somebody would want a mentor in the first place. When you're just getting into graffiti, you don't know what you're doing. You know what good graffiti looks like, you see it online, you see it outside, and you just know, I want to do that. My letters don't look that way, and I want them to look that nice. So you feel like you need some guidance. You feel like you want somebody to kind of show you the path to get your letters from point A to point B. Another reason a lot of people search out for a mentor is because they want somebody to teach them the ropes of the actual graffiti community. They want somebody to introduce them into the graffiti community. And this part right here has nothing to do with actual skill. So those are the two major reasons why you might seek out a mentor. And let's take a second to focus in on learning the ropes and the more social aspects of graffiti. A mentor is great for this. And the best part about it is it doesn't really require your mentor to be any good. They don't have to have a high skill level. They could be average on their best days and this would still benefit you. Also on top of that, skill and improvement isn't really the focus of the socializing aspect. Granted, you might meet new people who teach you new things that help you get better, sure, but with that to the side, let's say you're meeting new people to make new friends and kind of mingle and just get shown the ropes of socializing within the graffiti community, then yeah, a mentor is amazing for that. Especially if you're on the legal side of graffiti. And the reason I specifically say that is because in a lot of cases, when you make new friends in graffiti, you end up painting with those people. And when you paint with those people, you're likely to get arrested at some point. And if you happen to get arrested with those people, they're likely to snitch on you. So that means this whole side of the mentorship has been a complete detriment to you as a person. If you're keeping it legal, well then you're meeting new people to meet new people and to make friends, and there's no risk involved. This is something that I was lucky enough to experience with Demmer. Because Demmer is a very respected graffiti artist, he's considered a graffiti legend amongst other legends, it allowed me to meet graffiti artists from all over the world back at the shop. It allowed me to mingle with graffiti artists on a daily basis for years. And it gave me a perspective and an understanding for the graffiti community that I don't think I would have gotten otherwise. But what about the skill aspect of things? What about the actual learning and the teaching aspect of mentorship? Because that's really, at the crux of it, that's what most people want a mentor for. They want it for informational guidance. So what does that look like? Well, if I'm being brutally honest, with mentors that I've seen just in the graffiti community throughout my 20 plus years of doing graffiti, and with my almost, if not 20 years of teaching, well, it's not good. It's actually pretty abysmal. It's abhorrent. I mean, there's a plethora of words we can put here to express how terrible the information is coming from graffiti mentors. In fact, it almost always does more damage than anything else when you're getting mentored for the sake of learning and getting improvements and things of that sort. And the reason is because most mentors put a focus on style with no substance, no fundamentals. So why is this? Well, let's look at what getting better actually is. When you aspire to grow as an artist and you're looking for improvements, you're looking for very specific things. You're looking for information about the fundamentals, and you're looking for practices that help you, well, exercise those fundamentals and your dexterity. I have, in all honesty, I might have seen out of the hundreds, if not thousands of people I've seen mentor, both in person and through the online communities, I've seen maybe 3 people total actually focus on those things. And it's no coincidence, every single one of them came from a different art form first. None of them were a graffiti artist first. When you get mentored by a graffiti artist, more times than not, what you're getting is, oh, do this because it looks better. With zero explanation. They don't delve into the science, and when they attempt to, they fold under the first question you throw at them regarding the fundamentals. For example, do this extension because it fills negative space. Alright, well, why do we need to fill that negative space? Do we even need to fill that negative space? Is that negative space problematic? I don't know. Or they give you some flimsy reason, oh, negative space, well, we have to fill it because we did it over here, and it's like, that's not really the best explanation. It doesn't really tell you why things are happening the way that they're happening. They don't have the fundamental knowledge in order to give you a fundamental foundation. Meaning, at the end of the day, all they're really doing is kind of imbuing their style into you but you don't really have any control over their style, because to control their style, or any style for that matter, you have to understand the fundamentals. So like a newborn pup, you're doomed to just be suckling on their nips for the rest of your life, because you don't have any actual control of any style. You haven't developed your own style. You're not going to be capable of doing that because they haven't given you that fundamental foundation that you need to do those things. And what I find is a lot of people that have mentors and they come chat with me, they oftentimes don't realize their mentor hasn't really taught them much of anything, and they're doing more damage than anything. They're asking me very simple questions like, oh, you know, how do I do this or that? And I'm like, this is stuff that your mentor should have taught you, but almost every mentor doesn't know the fundamentals, and that's where they fall short. Now, when it comes to my personal experience in this domain, I had Demer as a mentor. He kind of taught me that some fundamentals existed. He was like, hey, letter structure's a thing, you should probably work on that because yours suck, John. And I was like, you know what? Good point. But that was pretty much the extent of it. He also helped greatly with can control and things of that sort, which is another massive benefit for mentors, is they are masters of technique. They can really break down how to do certain things technique-wise. I did have a fine art mentor who is incredible, and it was really when I started getting mentored by him that I learned about the fundamentals, even for graffiti. And this brings us to the next part of this discussion. How does the internet factor into all this? Well, with the internet making information so accessible, you really don't need to seek out a graffiti mentor who doesn't even know the fundamentals to begin with to help teach you something that they themselves don't know. Our books are a better graffiti mentor than the graffiti mentors you'll find out there. And that's not an exaggeration. Our book will actually teach you the fundamentals. We have ebooks on the online store and physical copies over on Amazon, hopefully in Barnes & Noble soon. When it comes down to the internet, you can find all that information online. Everything that you want from a mentor, you can just look it up online. And while sure, that kind of gets rid of some of the spirit of graffiti, it's not nearly as much fun. Sure, I'll give you that 1000%. But understand, graffiti's worldwide now. Not everybody lives in a big city. Most graffiti artists nowadays don't have access to a graffiti community, so they don't have any choice but to go online. And this is really where the benefit of the online community comes into play. You can become part of a graffiti community online. Unfortunately for the graffiti community online, the online communities tend to be really unnecessarily aggressive towards, you know, the other graffiti artists. It's kind of weird because being to graffiti events in real life, it was like never like that. I think it's just the nature of like being behind a keyboard online. People kind of say things that they would never say, and when you couple that with a brand new graffiti artist's overinflated ego, you get a lot of brand new graffiti artists talking a lot of crap, and it's like, what are you doing? But other than that, you get access to the best teachers online. And this isn't even just like, I'm not even using this as an opportunity to kind of put myself up. No. Get yourself a fine art mentor. Online, you're not using a graffiti mentor to introduce you to the graffiti community. You're getting a graffiti mentor for the informational aspect of things, which they're practically useless for. As a result of that, if you really want high quality, immense information and knowledge, find a fine art teacher. This doesn't mean you have to do fine art, but understand just about all of fine art's fundamentals directly apply to graffiti, whether people would like to admit it or not. And fine artists actually understand what they're doing. They can explain the fundamentals in immense depth, might I add. But this also requires that you understand how to get a critique, which is a large part of mentorship. And it's key that when you get a critique, you keep your questions to the fundamentals that are relevant to your image, which are going to be line, shape, form, value, space, color, texture, letter structure, negative space management, letter name weight, letter name positioning, and flow, which most of your skill, knowledge, and progress is going to come from the first 7, line, shape, form, value, space, color, texture, which is exactly what fine artists specialize in. You're not going to get a lot of information regarding graffiti's art form specific fundamentals, but that's when you come back to this channel and you check out the playlist that we have somewhere on the screen. Or you could check out the information in the book because it breaks down all of those things. And suddenly what you have is a master class of information that will take you to where you want to be skill level wise and knowledge wise. I'm telling you guys, if we were to compare the skill and the knowledge of the best graffiti mentors that, you know, only do graffiti, and then we compared that to the fine art mentors out there, it would be night and day. Honestly, it would be like comparing a toddler that just learned to speak to the top researchers in any given field. That is the knowledge disparity between professional fine artists and graffiti mentors. Meaning, in short, graffiti mentors really have one purpose nowadays, and that is to introduce you and help you socialize within the graffiti community, teach you the ethics, show you the ropes in that regard, and that is about the only thing they are useful for. Some graffiti mentors are amazing teachers, but that's far and few between. Like I said, I've only ever seen like 3. Well, you know what? We'll be generous and say 10. But understand, even that is out of nearly 20 years of teaching and over 20 years of doing graffiti. But dudes, that just about wraps up today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have you had a graffiti mentor, and what was your experience with them? Also, dudes, thank you for the really kind reviews on the book over on the site. I really appreciate it. It's awesome to see. And just as a quickie little like 1-sentence update, we're hard at work on the Throw ebook. We're making good progress. If you guys want to check out our current books, we got a link to it in the description down below. Physical copies over on Amazon and digital copies on our online store. And if you want to learn the fundamentals that your mentor isn't teaching you, check out this top playlist right up here. It's got a bunch of graffiti tutorials. I'm sorry for the joke. And more graffiti content right down here. I'll catch you guys back here next week. Thanks for watching.